What is happening, y'all? Welcome on back to the walkthrough, episode 20, and we are about to get a plus 10 weapon this episode, putting you to heights of greatness that are, frankly, just absolutely absurd for at this point in the game. So what you're going to want to do is just run across, and this lava's not like super deadly like it has been in past games, as you can see. You know, it'll slowly tick, but it's nothing too bad. Now, we need to be light anyway for a couple things. We can keep our armor on for now. But if you aren't sure, if you check, you can toss this. Alright, right here, we're going to die if we fall. But if we go right over here, we're going to do the same thing. There, how you didn't hear it shatter? That means it's safe. Now, we're still going to take some damage, and you could use a soft cotton just to be on the safe side. As for the lava, I know this looks really silly, but backstepping is actually the fastest way to get through it. Now, I wouldn't worry about the slugs at all. It's not worth trying to kill these things right now. I mean, you can kill them. They're not particularly bad. They're just not worth it. They give like 150 souls a pop or something. There's a magma worm right there, so don't go that way. I know there's a couple shinies, but just don't go after them. Instead, we're going to take this. Now, there's going to be one snake guy right here. He shouldn't be a problem because we're just going to run past. Jump on this roof, and then you want to go this way. You want to cross on that roof. So run, jump again, and then jump again. Oh no, and we fell. So if you fall, that's okay. I'll show you how to get back. It's probably good that I fell. So Snake Man's here. You can see that whip, like it hurts, but it doesn't terribly hurt. And that's why I said, you know, you could do this area early. We're just gonna keep sprinting through all these jumps. Last one we can just drop. Like you can see this dude, you know, 350 souls. So I mean that's you know, not a ton of souls. But now we got our sombering 6. At this point we can jump down. If you want, go ahead and you can grab that goodie while we're here. Golden Rune 9 is gonna make up for the runes you lost getting here, which shouldn't really be anything, but there's a couple of little rune items like that we're gonna snag as we run through all this stuff. So that's the one we came up from, and then this one is what we're taking next. Now, typically we would do this much later in the game. Well, not even much later, honestly. This is probably like episode 35-ish material. There's an extra sombering 5 if you didn't get the one in the previous episode. You're gonna ignore this dude. Just run past him. He's pretty slow. You might need to roll once. Do not go in there. There is a boss fight in there, and that's typically what you're supposed to do. You do the boss fight, and that lets you get to where we're trying to go now. But we're taking a sneaky shortcut. We want to hit that. This bridge will raise out of the lava. Now, typically, the way this zone would work is you see that door down there that's closed, that's like right where my face is at. That door is typically where you start. You start this area, you work your way all the way through the town, over to there, work your way through some stuff, down towards the lava, work your way up, and then you're over here, and then you have a shortcut that's leading back. We have just skipped a ton of stuff to get the shortcut. Now, right there is a sombering 7, and the true path is going through that, fighting the boss, running through this area a bit, opening a stonework key door, going through a bunch of stuff, and then you can get it. However, we can do a trick jump. So, what we're going to need to do is take off stuff until we are at a light load. You can see under equip loader now says light. And what you're going to want to do is start here, and we are going to jump and then hold circle. Remember the sprint jump trick I taught you? We're going to do that. Now we have long jumps. Get up here. Now you want to aim for that corner. And this might take a couple tries. But we're going to go and get on that corner. So jump. Jump. And while I'm doing this, I'm just holding down circles so that I have you know, sprints in the farther jump. Now on the stream, we were talking about, you know, is this going to be a legit method? What if this gets patched? We're already seeing this used in the speedrun community. Just for context, there haven't been, to my knowledge, any things like these. I don't think FromSoft has ever patched something like this. Now you can jump over, but that guy's obviously going to attack you. Instead, you just want to walk around this ledge and mash triangle. There we go. And you can see right around the same time that you fall, if you're mashing triangle, you will get that Sombering 7. Now that we got the Sombering 7, just Geronimo off a cliff. Now you might be thinking, well, hey, why don't we, you know, we're here. Let's go through this area. Let's go through, let's get some graces and whatnot. If we do that, the graces are going to trigger the transition for Radahn. And frankly, we just don't want that yet. There is a lot of loot and stuff that is leading up to Radahn that I would like us to get. That's not my armor. There's my armor. There's my armor. But anyway, now we're actually going to go through and do what you would do if you did get yanked here. So this is pretty common. You know, a lot of players, they'll be like, well, what's at the bottom of the water wheel? And then, surprise, you're in hell. And they're like, how do I escape? Well, fight your way out. It's not that bad. I mean, as you can see, the bats, they're dying in 2 hits. It's another pathway. There's nothing else over there. So head on this way. Once you get in here, we're just gonna run through this. There's just some bats. More bats. You can kill them if you want. Doesn't really matter. Right here, just walk off the ledge to drop down. And you can see there's another ledge for us to drop down. And then another ledge for us to drop down. Now, similar to before, I don't think it's worth killing these slugs. You can if you want, but as you can see, they are worth a whopping 154 runes, which is nothing. So I wouldn't waste your time with them. I would just, you know, keep dropping down like we are. Okay, and once you get here, crazy man over here is going to run at you. Go on and knock him out first. And then this guy's going to start casting spell things at you, so go on and get him next. I actually think it's the little glintstone things he uses. And now we are at the grace site. So at this time you could leave. You know, now that we've reached the grace, well, if we're sitting at the grace, and then we open up our map, you can see that we're now able to fast travel out of here. So if you're like, oh my god, this zone is done, well, now is when you can officially leave the zone. But because we're here, we're just going to fight our way through it. So, drop down. There's also some nice upgrade mats we get through here, so we're going to hop on this and run and jump for that guy. There we go. Smithing stone 4. Jump over here. Jump over here. Jump over here. Jump over here. That's a smithing stone 6. How are we looking on smithing stones in general? So we got our 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh man, we got all of them right now. And we're gonna, at the end of this episode, we're gonna talk about some weapons that are good potential choices to do this on, because obviously it's gonna be a while until we start coming into contact with more 7, 8, 9s, and especially 10s. So the weapon that you choose to upgrade at this point should be something that you really like and that you're like, you know what? I think I could use this for a whole playthrough. So that'll collapse. You know, don't worry about it. There's nothing else here. Just drop down. And over there is the boss fog. So before that, just run around this cave, grab all the goodies. It's just cave moss, but you know, whatever. If you're crafting, I'm sure it'll be useful for something. That's one thing I've barely looked at crafting at all. And now we get a little revenge. So that thing that kidnapped us, we get to fight it. And we get to fight 2 of them. So I know that sounds like, oh, 2 of them. It's really not that bad, I promise. So go on in. We're going to pop our skeletons. I'm going to get a little bit of distance here just to put the grease on. It's like the only attack these things do that you really need to watch out for. I'll be talking about their full attack patterns in a second. So they have a spin to win thing. Come on, boys, over here. So this one will wheel up, and then it'll rush you. You just roll behind it and start whacking it. If they grab you, mash your buttons. I'll tell you what, the summon that I had on the mage lasted way longer. They have this little spin thing. And what you really want to do is you want to fight like right in front of them, and you want to bait that little thing to come out. And when it does, you just roll back, and then you smack that thingy, and you'll get really good damage in. So roll back. No! My roll back was late. Well, that's the strat though, is you roll back, and then when that thing is out, you can attack that and get a ton of damage in. You can see it's more just an annoying boss fight than anything. This one winds up, it's a good time to... Oh man, he came right over and he grabbed me. Winds up, pull out the way. And this is like the get good version of this fight. Oh my god. Once you get one down, it's actually not bad. My summons, unfortunately, just bit the bullet very fast. Alright, so with one down, now we can show the proper strategies. Out of the way, give it a pop to the back. It starts spinning around, just back away from it. And you can see just how much damage we got on it right there when it tried to do its thing. Taking them down gets you the Inquisitor's Giriando, which is actually a pretty cool weapon. It is a faith, strength, and dex scaling spear that causes blood loss buildup. So you're getting both blood loss and you're getting fire on this bad boy. Pretty neat, right? And if you can't beat these guys right now, because I know this is definitely a more challenging fight, you know, don't worry about it, just warp out. Just at that previous grace we were just at, the subterranean Inquisition, warp out, and then just leave a little skull icon and come back here later, because you don't need to kill him right now. You know, we get a cool weapon for it, and that's it. So we're going to rest here. And now we're going to talk briefly about the Altus plateau. What do I have in my I think I have the charge attacks. Yeah, you're not even getting any use right now. Let's go back to the passive HP restoration. I like that. So this is one of 3 ways to get up into the Altus plateau. Now, to my knowledge, there are 3. The first being this, we can then just jump down. The second being this route that I told you about, and the third being the actual Dectus lift. I think there's like an I think you might be able to go through an area, go through the deep root depths, and then take a secret thing, and that gets you into like the sewers of the tunnel or something, but I haven't found that myself yet. Now, if you go down and you start exploring this area and you trigger any grace, that is going to cause this to transition to the Radahn encounter. It's called the festival. And the thing is, we don't want the festival to trigger just yet, because there's a whole slew of stuff we can fight in here. There's a bunch of loot we can get. There's bosses we can fight, and those bosses actually drop one of the best strength weapons in the entire game. So my strength people, this is especially for you. You don't want to, don't trigger anything just yet. Now, if for some reason you go down here and Radahn's triggered, it's okay. You'll just have to beat Radahn, and then you can turn things back to normal. And so you can't miss anything, but It's like, I guess a better way to describe it is we don't want to do the main boss of this region without beating all the stuff in the castle, you know, because the main boss is going to give us, like, it's absurd. I think he drops like 50,000 souls, maybe more. Really hard fight, easily the most difficult fight that I had in Let's Play. I think I was under-leveled at the time, and I was just being stubborn about it. But, you know, just going through the castle and doing the normal fight, we're going to get probably about 5 levels out of that. So I'd rather do that and then take y'all to fight Radahn versus fighting him early. And so ultimately, we don't want to do stuff in the Altus plateau. I mean, you can... I want to say, like, you can go out and take a look. In my testing, it seems like a grace. It seems like if you rest at a grace in the Altus plateau, or you speak with Ranni, those are 2 of the things that could trigger the festival for Radahn. So from here, I would suggest we just leave. Just to be safe, you know, leave. And we're going to head on out to the Farum Great Bridge. Now, we've already picked up our 5, 6, 7. What about our 8, 9, 10? The first is pretty easy. We're just going to head straight west from here. Now, there's a couple of these enemies. You should probably be a high enough level that you can dunk on these dudes by now. This was actually one of the earliest farming methods in the game. That you'd come up here and you would just farm these dudes. Which, speaking of this one, that thing that he had, it's actually a really nice weapon for quality builds. It is a halberd, and it has the same halberd moveset as the Knight Rider glaive, this thing that I'm so fond of. So, you know, the heavy overhand, the sweeps. Its charged heavy attack is a little bit different, but really solid halberd choice. Scales pretty well with quality builds, and probably the craziest thing about it is it has bleed. So, you know, if you've been you know, wanting to switch things up and go for a halberd, but you're like, well, you know, I really want bleed, I like bleed. Well, you can farm these dudes until they drop it. Now, obviously, it's only the malicious saw guys that drop it, so food for thought. Which actually, I'll touch on them briefly, because so we just picked up our 9 from killing that shiny. Hop over to Lene's Rise. I'm going to show you all the farm I did to get this, because I was considering doing it for this series. I wasn't sure if I want it over the Knight Rider halberd. This bridge also has a Knight Rider at night, just something to be cautious about. But if you want to farm those little dudes to try and get this weapon, I'll show you all what I was doing on my higher level save when I got it. And so we would rest at Lene's Rise. This is the same place we do the ball trick. I'm going to go on over here, and you can already see the first one. Here comes the second one. And you can see they'll do a little bit of damage, but we're already getting to the levels where we can potentially handle these guys, and they're not going to, you know, just instant kill us. They're still going to hurt, but they're not, you know, they're not completely out of our league. So you have those 2. This is a normal one. This one has the... You can also get that weapon to drop, but that one doesn't have bleed. I will say it goes through shields, so, you know, that's kind of nice. Where'd it go? Love the backstab on these guys. Oh, it doesn't do it. Most weapons, he'll plunge the weapon down the neck of the enemy, and that's really cool to me. Very Bloodborne-like. These weapons are very Bloodborne-like. I mean, it's a saw on a stick. So yeah, I'm not getting any drops. If you want to farm them, these things, the silver pickled fowl feet, those are going to boost up item discovery. And I mean, farming is farming, you know? You might be the guy that gets it on your first kill. You might be the guy that gets it on your 50th. But I think it's a good weapon for quality builds, and so I wanted to put it out there. Obviously, it's not just quality builds. You could do it with you know, you could make it strength, dex, whatever. But we're gonna head on out to here. Now, this is the ball farm. Obviously, we're all very familiar with the ball farm. But what you may not know is that the ball farm is typically just there to try and kill you. You know, everyone's like, oh wow, magical ball that gives me lots of runes. You know, oh wow, this is fun. I'm gonna stay here forever and farm it for a bunch of souls. Yeah, well, the idea is it's supposed to spawn behind you, and then it comes rip-roaring down that cliff, and it tries to run you over. So, just be a little cautious as you go through here. I like to kind of stay along the ledge, because there is a second ball that can spawn. And, you know, the ball can hit you, so... Just something to be aware of. Yep, see? Hey, look, that ball's already trying to get me. There's the ball. You can kind of notice there was like a flash or a glow right when it spawned. That's the main indicator. As far as I know, it's just those two. I don't think there's a third ball along this path that spawns. There's a bear here, and then another bear up ahead, and then another bear. Don't touch the bears, leave them alone. We're just running on through. And we're actually going to get the map while we're up here. So we'll have the map for Caelid, which is the region we're going to tackle when we're mostly done with Liurnia. Now, Grace is up here. You're more than free to get. In fact, I would recommend it just to make travel a little bit easier in this place later on. Yeah, I'll be okay. I was debating if I wanted to spend my runes, but I should be fine. So while this is still Caelid, this region is technically called Dragonbarrow, and I'm guessing you're kind of seeing why. So up until this point, you know, we've seen very limited dragons. We've had a Greyoll at the start. We had the Glintstone dragon that we fought, and you're like, man, there's a couple of cool dragons. Yeah, this place is filled with dragons. They're all over. Look, we just passed one. There's a dragon. There's a dragon. There's another dragon over there. They're just all over the place. So these dragons are quite strong. They do follow the same basic strategies I discussed previously, but they are pretty strong. So we're going to head right over here, and you can see another ball sitting up there, and that is our number 8. Get your little ass back here. Roll away from this one. And now we have a sombering 8. So while we're here, I'm just going to grab a couple of things, such as the map fragment, and then a few graces to just make our life easier when it's time to come back here. So there should be one right around here, and then one right around here, just to show those spots on the map. First is considered Central Dragonbarrow. Should be right around here. Where are you, Central Dragonbarrow? Why am I not seeing you? Oh, there you go. Just hiding under the branch. I guess I could also... Yeah... Oh, I don't know. I'll point him out while we're here. Because I've had... This has probably been one of the most frequently asked things I've seen in both the Let's Plays and the walkthroughs. People that wandered up here and they're like, I found the big dragon, what do I do? So we'll touch on him briefly while we're out here. This is a really nice shack. This is one of my favorite places actually to come and just test weapons out, because these dogs are fairly dangerous, but they also serve as excellent punching bags. So it's just, you know, it's kind of nice, it's isolated. One thing I will say is at nighttime a ball-bearing hunter can spawn here. So just, you know, something to be aware of.
How can I?
So talk to him. We don't need hidden caves or gateway. Beast repellent torch. Ooh. Dragon wound grease. Ritual pots are always good. Spike cestus, serpent arrows, samurai armor. But yeah, if there's anything you want, grab it. And I can hear his ass. Let's just knock him out while we're here. Where are you at, Mr. Twinkles? Come on. Stop running. No point in making this hard. You're not going to survive. It's a sky shot, which is irrelevant unless you're a bow build. So what we're going to do next is ride on down all the way up to here. Now, if I remember correctly, that's actually the fort we need to go to. That's the fort we need to go to get the second half of the medallion to proceed through the game. And you can even... Actually, I think clearing that fort... Well, I don't know if getting both medallions triggers Radahn. I haven't tested that myself, but we're going to do all of the southern portion of Caelid before we go and we do that. So the reason we're going to be running over here is for the dragon Greyoll. Now, Greyoll is considered the mother of all dragons, and it is a large, I guess sickly is a good description, dragon that has been laying there for so long she's begun to fuse into the dirt. A lot of people find this thing and they're like, you know, what do I do? Do I fight it? You know, how do I interact with it? To my knowledge, there's no secret quest. There's been a lot of I guess theory crafting that maybe you need to heal Greyoll, and when you do, you somehow get some special reward for it. But the reality is, after killing her, you get like 5 dragon hearts, and you unlock Greyoll's Roar, which is one of the legendary incantations that you need for your platinum. Now, maybe there is a quest that'll allow you to do that. As you can see, the dragon is huge. There's a bunch of little dragons around her. Now, you can either kill all the little dragons, and then that'll cause her to just kind of fade away. As you can see, they're even injured, but, I mean, even then, give them a boop. You can see how much damage I just did to that thing. So it's a lot of dragon to fight, you know? A lot of dragon to fight. Can't get under that way. We're just going to keep running for now. The other thing is Greyoll's Roar. If it hits you, it'll actually debuff your defense. So you'll end up taking a little bit of a beating. Now this is something that I'm going to recommend y'all do on your own, just because this is incredibly time consuming, but you can kill this dragon. I would absolutely recommend a weapon that has bleed. If you have something that can rot the dragon as well, that's even better. But this thing just has an insane health pool. Now damage does scale partially. I like to go like right up here. Dragons don't attack you here. You can see that health bar in the corner. That's the dragon's health bar. And you can see just how little damage we are doing to this thing. And this is exactly why I recommend stuff like bleed and rot and whatnot. Because eventually we're going to get a bleed proc. And you can see that takes off a fair chunk of its health. So this is definitely something, you know, there's no point in me showing you, like, hey, if you stand here and you smack the dragon for 5 minutes, it'll die. But you do get like 70,000 souls for killing it, so it's just, you know, a huge, huge portion of free souls at this point in the game, and definitely worth doing. But I'll kill the dragon on my own. Y'all kill the dragon on your own. We don't need to sit together for 5 minutes while I beat on a dragon. That's silly. Now, I didn't do this in the initial recording, but it does make sense to do it now, so we're going to go grab one of the legendary talismans we need, the Radahn Source Seal. Now, once again, make sure you kill the dragon on your own. To reiterate, you should use bleed weapons because they will take off large chunks of its health as they are HP percentage based. And I'd also suggest using up all of your souls before you go into this area. This is a very easy area to die. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. When you enter, we're just going to run straight through. And right at the back here, there's a ladder that we're going to be aiming for. Ignore the bats, ignore the harpies. They will very quickly jump up on you and just kind of overwhelm you. You know, even late game, this is a very easy area to die in just because of how fast enemies overwhelm you. So we're just going to run past all this stuff. I wouldn't suggest trying to fight at all. Now right up here is going to be a chest. This will have the second half of the Dectus medallion. The Dectus medallion is important because it can trigger the Radahn festival. So what I'm talking about is with both halves of the medallion, right here, this is the Grand Lift of Dectus, and this will take you up into the Altus plateau. However, you do not want to use that lift, even though we can. If you use that lift down here, it's going to trigger the festival with Radahn. And what that means is that all the stuff that's in this area, we won't be able to do until after we beat Radahn. And there's quite a few things there that ideally we should get before Radahn. So whatever you do, don't use the lift. Now up here, what I'd suggest doing is staying to the left. There are a couple of ghosts that can spawn, but if we're far enough to the left, we may not even trigger them, or we may only trigger a few of them. I can see I've triggered one ghost, I've triggered 2 ghosts, so we're going to go ahead and drop down this hole. This is where we want to go. And we're going to wait just a second to see if the ghosts follow us down. Let's see, a charged heavy attack will take it out. But these guys are going to be pretty tanky. Just waiting to see if the other ghosts come. I think we're safe. Over here, there's going to be one rat. You're going to want to kill this one rat. And you can see how much damage these things are doing. They are very tanky. After that rat right here, there will be a tier 12 rune item. Grab that. And then you want to jump across this gap. Now there is a smaller rat and a big rat over here. We're just going to let them look at us, and then we are going to run and jump back. The reason for doing this is we're just going to get the rats to come on over this way. The big one should fall down, and then that way this is no longer a suicide run. So we just give it a second. That rat is going to fall. And we're going to go this way. There's one more little rat that we can kill. And then after that, you want to drop on down and round this corner. And right here waiting for you will be the Radahn Sword Seal, one of the legendary talismans you need for the Platinum achievement. Now just to talk about this briefly, because this is a bit of a double-edged sword, this can be really good. However, this is going to increase the amount of damage you take. We're getting 5 points into Vigor, Endurance, Strength, and Dex, so it's fantastic for a quality build like my own. But as you can see, my mitigations are going significantly lower. I go from 17% resistance to lightning all the way down to less than 5%. Now from here, even though there's stuff, you should be able to fast travel right back on out to the fort. But yeah, just keep in mind the negative resistances you get with this. You take 15% more damage with it, whereas the Scar Seal version, you take 10% more damage. That is offset slightly by the fact that we have more vigor with it, but it is a double-edged sword. So, you know, just keep that in mind. But either way, with that being done, we're going to jump back to the original episode. But I still owe y'all an upgrade 10. And if you have been following this guide, you should have a Pure Blood Knight's medal. Well, now is the time to go to the audience grounds. So the Mohgwyn Palace, this is a fairly high level late game zone. A lot of people like to come here to farm. The map's right there. Now we have it. This was actually basically the last area in the game I found, because I didn't do that guy's quest, and the only other way I know to get here is by a hidden teleporter that is like buried in the middle of nowhere. So we're just gonna run through this. These guys will run towards you and try to explode. They're not particularly dangerous, but I mean, let's see, you might take a little bit of blood damage. Pick up a quick smithing 7. We're just going to pick up any shinies we see. I didn't even write down what they were. I just wrote grab shinies on the way. That was worth a lot. The Newman's rune. We get that. I think we get a Lord's rune around here as well. So just run on past. When you get to the big blob, you don't need to attack it. Just run around and hop over it. Those will cure bleed. Run past these guys. It's actually like really cool boss. For this portion, I would suggest the torch. I know we have a lantern, but this place is super dark and hard to see. Torch is going to help a lot. And we want to go fast through here. We're not, you know, stopping and smelling the roses. So we're just going to kind of follow the blood puddles. Go right. Then go left. You get to this pillar, grab the Lord's Ring, and continue along the path. We're going to be heading up. You can grab this real fast. And then there's the stairs out. Now there's a dude that's chasing us right now. He'll hurt. You know, as long as we don't like stand still, though, he's not going to kill us. But yeah, there's a reason we're running fast, you know? Like I said, in general, we don't belong here right now. This zone is high level stuff. This is actually one of the lords. So, you know, in terms of like trying to force your way through the game, if you were able to kill this guy, he's already being used in speedrun tactics, because there's like a glitch where you can get up in his arena and just beat on him right now and then take him out, which is very cheeky, and it's not something I'm going to cover. But that one trick jump to get you that smithing stone 7, now that is something your boy will cover. We're going to go here, go around the back first to snag the gold rune 13. I should have aggroed that dude, and that's okay. I'm just going to go here, and while he's busy attacking, we're going to go around and open this chest. If you die here, that's okay. There is your somber ancient dragon smithing stone. Now, if you're feeling extra ballsy, you're welcome to go up there and try to fight the boss. I wouldn't recommend it right now, especially because there's a tier we're going to get that'll make that fight significantly easier, and I would suggest waiting for that tier. So, from here, I'm going to go back to the mausoleum entrance, and the last thing I'm going to do before we level up our weapon and rab is I'm actually going to run through and just grab a couple loots here. Now, this is basically a suicide run, so there's a good chance I'm about to lose the 7,000 runes I have, but one of the best arcane spells in the game, and one of the only bleed spells in the game, is in this area, as I previously mentioned. And I want to take y'all to that item. So we're going to be zipping and going quick. Got some Ghost Glovewort there. In general, you want to stay to the right side of the cliff. Once you start hearing that, there's big skeleton arms that'll try and hit you. Don't let the big skeleton arms hit you, they hurt. Another Smithing Stone 7. Like I said, I'm just running through. We're just literally running through. Just grabbing everything I can on the way. We're going to do this area in earnest later on, but for now, this is just a, you know, dash and grab. Golden Rune 15. Smithing Stone 6. Those are some nice, easy upgrade mats. Right on in here, we have another Ghost Glovewort. And there is our beauty, Swarm of Flies, which I'll talk about that in just a second. Blood-tainted excrement. Another piece of candy. Pick that up. Smithing Stone 8. Hero's Rune. This thing is Blood Impale. It's not very good. Oh, we're getting into combat. It's time to run. Not the horse. That's like a multi-thrust that it's weird. It's not a very good spell. But yeah, we'll pick that up when we come back here at a later time. Because once those things engage, they do like cartwheels of death and deal a ton of damage and basically bleed you instantly. And yeah, it's not a good time. There's a reason you see so many bloodstains in this area. Things here are, they're not nice. They're very, very deadly. But hey, if you need Dukiss Turba or Formic Rock or Blood Roses, you have no short supply in this place, that's for damn sure. And this is typically where we would start this zone properly from if we were planning on going all the way through it. And we will. We'll get back here at a much later time. But so for now, let's head back to Round Table Hold. And let's talk about some weapons, because we now have the potential to fully upgrade a weapon this early in the game. So, I'm going to go pop one of those Lord runes real fast. Just a quick 50,000 souls.
Well, I took you no matter to lay out your arms.
Alright. We are going to also level up you as much as I can as well now. And just for the record, I'm probably gonna use the Knight Rider Glaive, just in case this gets patched. I don't want to demonstrate an unfair advantage over another player. So I won't be personally using my level 10 weapon. I'll just have it kind of sitting in the back pocket. Guess it could be for emergencies. I don't know. But anyway, let's sort the chest and let's talk about some weapons. So, first up, only weapons that are considered unique can be leveled up with these. So Bloodhound's Fang counts. This does not count. This does not count. Some good weapons in every category that I think, well, let's just pull them all out. Pull out all the weapons. Oh, that's a lot of weapons so far. Okay. I can definitely tell the audio is starting to desync a little bit. It's always these longer episodes. Let me fix it real fast since we're getting into a quick weapon discussion. All right. So when we go to strengthen and upgrade, we can see if it says somber, that's something we can now take to +10. If you're playing an arcane build, this is absolutely your best bet. Take your Reduvia all the way up. Reduvia does a lot of bleed damage. You can't go wrong with it. It's a very solid bet at this point. Continuing on through to other potential choices. The Wing Scythe, this is a pretty solid faith choice. It does good damage. It has a very powerful PvP Ash of War with Angel's Wings, and it has bleed. I use this for a huge chunk of my own playthrough. Very solid choice. The Moonveil. If you're playing an intellect build, this should be a no-brainer. This is literally one of the most powerful weapons in the game right now. It's just absolutely insane. Let's see. Going down our list. Cypherpada, this one is a decent choice for faith builds, but keep in mind it's a fist weapon, so I think there's some better choices here. Grafted Blade Greatsword, I wouldn't do it, y'all. I would not do it. I know Strength Boys are looking at this and like, what about this? You get something called the Runes Greatsword over in Caelid. That is, in my opinion, the best Greatsword in the entire game. So I would wait for that. I wouldn't worry about Grafted Blade. Golden Halberd, another very, very solid choice. This is a brutal halberd, 30 strength requirement, but pretty low at 14 dex, 12 faith. You can't go wrong with it if you decide to do Golden Halberd. That'll definitely carry you through. Frozen Needle, if you want a thrusting weapon, this thing's pretty dirty. It pokes fast, it has 60 frost buildup. When you inflict frostbite on an enemy, they take 20% more damage. All around solid choice. Don't do Clinging Bone. Crystal Sword is decent if you want something fast as a mage, but you're way better off with Moonveil. Inquisitor's Giriendel is, I mean, it's a cool weapon, but, you know, I don't know. It's split damage and it's bleed. If you want a spear, it's a good choice, but I think there's better options here. Ice Rind Hatchet, this can actually get pretty strong, and it already has high frost buildup and Hoarfrost Stomp, which is a really good art, so this is a good choice. Watchdog Staff, I haven't personally worked with this, but I don't think I would do it. I mean, there's better weapons, but if you wanted something really bad right now, it's okay. Ornamental Straight Sword, very solid dex weapon, has the built-in dual wield. If you're not sure what to go with for dexterity, this is good. Carrion Night Sword, this actually scales more towards strength than int, but it's a decent choice if you're doing more of a spell sword type thing. And then lastly, we have Bloodhound's Fang, which if you're playing a quality build, I shit you not, this is one of the best damage scaling weapons in the game for a quality build. I've already tested out a bunch of different weapons, and you know, you'll pick up your God-slaying armament for upgrading it all the way, but Bloodhound's Fang is absolutely decimating. I mean, like, look, I'm at what are we at? 20 strength 18, and I'm at a 509 attack rating, which is just insane at this level compared to, well, I'm not two-handing it, so I can't really see. I'd have to be two-handing it. I'd have to leave here and two-handed to see it. But yeah, I mean, it'll carry you through the whole game. The whole game, no question asked, that'll carry you. Sword chest. We'll throw these all away. And we're gonna see how far behind my damage is with my halberd. And I'm fine with the mix-up, though. I've been meaning to use something besides the same thing the whole playthrough. And of course, just to, you know, where we left off, head on over, I believe it was the schoolhouse classrooms where we decided to go down that lift. And then I know I say, you know, save onto your runes to level, but we picked up a couple of really big runes on that run. You know, stuff like the Nord's rune, stuff like the Newman rune. And this, I don't, you know, the only reason I am not using the weapon is because I think there's a chance they may patch that jump. I don't think they ever will. They haven't patched any of the jumps in the other Dark Souls, but if they were to patch the jump, and then I had done it, it wouldn't be a comparative experience. But if you followed the walkthrough, and you did the quest, and you got the Bloodlords thing, you could have gone there and grabbed the 10. So, once we come into contact with a 7, I'll probably consider using Bloodfang's Hound again. But either way, we got a ton of runes, so this gives me a fantastic opportunity, actually, to... What do you need? 26 strength? Let's do it. Let's hit the 6 strength mark. Oh, so close. That's okay. So let's see how much damage I'm going to be missing out on before we wrap, because I am curious. So that's not bad. 317 compared to 568. This is obviously much stronger at plus 10, but the Knight Rider Glaive, this will still hold its own. Another thing to keep in mind is that's how we find one more 4, and that upgrades, and then we get another level straight out of the 5 because we have 2 of those. And then we have a couple of these, so we need to find a bunch of 5s, but we'll grab our first 6, we'll grab our first 7. We'll get there. So either way, we're going to wrap things up here. I will be a halberd boy moving forward, but my other quality boys out there, your Bloodhound Fang is about to decimate bosses. You're welcome. Catch you next time.